I think neither child nor adult enjoys it. It's a rare experience. Nobody enjoys. What is up, everybody? Welcome to a Hump Day edition of the DNVR Nuggets podcast.
Guess what day it is, Adam?
Guess what day it is? God, I hope it's not a bad day. It's just Wednesday, just regular old Wednesday.
That is a bad.
Two-man edition here of the DNVR Nuggets podcast. The rest of the crew absent. I haven't been able to get a hold of any of them.
I'm having a hard time remembering. The beat's not just you and I.
It's not. There's other people here. They're going to be joining us tomorrow live and in studio. We should be very excited for that. We do have a fun show for you, though. You know why?
What's that?
Because I planned it.
So it's like every show.
It's like every show. They're all bangers. This one will be an absolute banger, though. Later in the show, we're going to be joined by Jace Frederick of the Pioneer Press, who covers the Minnesota Timberwolves. He's going to be giving us the Minnesota Timberwolves perspective on this new lineup, as well as what is the name for this new lineup? Is it the Twin Timbers? We'll talk about that.
Twin Timbers.
Yeah, you work on some names there. You're good at this.
All right.
Well,
hold on. I'm not going to give them a nickname that might then be used against us.
Great call. Refuse to do it. But we're going to talk to him. I can't wait to get his perspective. I'm also just curious, what Minnesota's one of the harder teams to peg this year. Are they going to be great? Are they going to be mediocre? Are they going to be bad? We don't know. And so it'll be fun to hear just another perspective. We have friend of the show, Dane Moore, on all the time. Get a little bit of a different one, hear from Jace. Good guy. We're also going to do an updated Haters Ball. We did Teams Live. It was one of my favorite episodes we've ever done.
Wow.
The Haters Guide. We did it to teams. We ranked 1 being absolute hatred, 10 meaning the ultimate love you could have.
The love of our lives.
We did it for teams, but now we're going to do it for specific players, past and present.
This is, sometimes you just take, maybe you're not old enough. Maybe you are. You just take a step back. Things happen in your life. You're like, you know what? My life led me to that moment.
That's what this is?
Me getting to rank players based on how much I hate them is why I'm here on Earth.
You realize I'm closer in age to you than anybody else is to me in this company. So, I'm not that far behind you. In fact, when we met, you were my age.
I know. I just feel like I've lived more. You know what I mean?
You have. You've lived an awful lot. But our top story today, guys, do you know what it is, Eric?
Is it about hate?
No.
Oh, is it about Jokic?
Nikola Jokic has arrived with the Serbian national team. He's there. In years past, Eric, we don't see Jokic. We saw him the last time we saw him was at the MVP celebration. Haven't seen him since then. Oh no, that's not true. River rafting. He had one river rafting video.
We actually had a solid week or so where we had Jokic sightings, but he's gone deep into hiding.
That's right.
We've learned this, unlike MPJ, where all we do is beg for evidence that he can still play basketball. Nikola Jokic, we know, should be left alone, allowed to.
It's actually hilarious.
We're not begging for anything. We're just leave the man alone. MPJ, we're like, you better do something in the middle of Denver today.
On camera. Multiple angles.
Otherwise, we're going to burn you in this stuff.
It is actually so funny. That is the exact opposite approach. We're if Jokic dropped a mixtape, we'd be like, what the hell's wrong with him?
Is he all right?
What's going on here? But also, unsurprisingly, the reports out of Serbia, Jokic, great shape. He's in great shape. I know this is funny because we're past it. But there was a moment in time when that was unclear. We didn't see Jokic for months, and we're like, trick or treat, what are we getting?
If Jokic came back and was fat again,
that would actually be awesome.
That would be. I would find it disheartening. I have to say, I never want to talk about his weight again.
Well, honestly, that's what's so funny is when I saw the reports today, it was the first I'd have thought about it. I just assumed Jokic was in great shape. That fully over the hump in terms of muscle watch in that turn. He's 2-time MVP.
He's past the threshold.
He's well past that threshold. But I will say, and here's the thing that I love when I get these little morsels. Again, I'm getting these mostly from Miroslav and some other friends of the show who are sending little morsels hey, did you guys see this? You see this? One of the things was, hey, not only is he here, he's the first one at all these workouts. He's the last one to leave. This is the thing about Jokic that is you have to kind of look because it's not blasted through the microphone. He doesn't do the one-on-one with Rachel Nichols where he talks about it.
I'm in the best shape of my life.
He's not doing those types of things and doing Instagram. But it is the most underrated aspect of him and who he is. He really is. And I just love to see him bringing that now to the national team. This thing of nobody knows it, but I'm outwork every single person.
The greatest part is that that he's lifting tires and saddles. He's not actually working out, but it's he's developing that
his country strong.
Yes. He's developing country strength where like all of his muscles are constantly engaged because he's doing like blue collar tasks, like lifting bales of hay and stuff. I love it.
You know who he is? He literally is Larry Bird.
Oh God.
I'm saying this is. I hope he doesn't throw out his back.
Is he going to injure his back by paving his own
driveway?
But
you're right. Like, I think Jokic is also working out, but I do imagine there is a certain amount of like bale tossing and like just like horseshoeing that requires a lot of strength and stuff. It is true. This is why I like the Big Ten. It's all linemen.
Hick from Samblik.
We're gonna have to figure out if there is a word that rhymes with Sambor that means country.
Yeah. Or yes. Is there
rural?
What is the lovably
the
offensive
from
term?
Sambor.
What is the equivalent of hick in Sambor?
You're right. Because hick is like derogatory.
It is, but it's
but it's friendly derogatory.
It's like nobody. I mean, you can use it. I've used it many times to be offensive.
You're just a hick.
Yeah,
I've never yelled at somebody.
Except for you just yelled it literally
into the
internationally,
microphone. Right? Anyway, I think it's really cool to see. There are some pictures. The homie Miroslav tweeted them out if you want to go and do the deep digging on those kind of things. But he looks great. He looks content. And guess what? 2 weeks we're gonna go see him play against Giannis.
Oh my God. I know that is true intellectually. I know that I made a graphic for it. Well, I know that graphic appeared in a large publication in Serbia this morning.
It's awesome.
But I still can't really wrap my mind around the fact that it's like a real thing that's happening.
I can't tell either if we're going to be greeted, like in the streets as like, hey, they're here, or if like no one will know who Jokic is. I can't tell.
I can't either.
I can't tell what it'll be like if it's like, hey, celebration of basketball. Today, Jokic had a quote, by the way, that Miroslav put out where he's like, as a nation, us Serbs, we don't like basketball.
What?
Which is kind of different from everything I've been told. Miroslav, I feel like he's really been giving us terrible information for years. But he said his quote, to finish it off, just to give the proper context, he's saying something to the effect of, we don't love basketball, we love competition. What's he say? It's our mentality. We don't love basketball. We don't like sports. We love winning. I like that. There is a difference.
And they just this is what a perfect way to understand Nikola Jokic, the man who is cursed with the most basketball talent in the world. He doesn't want to do it, but he is obliged to because these are gifts that were given to him. He's like, do I love basketball? Maybe. Am I great at basketball? And then I must pursue that and then win at it. Like, yes, like it's about national pride through whatever means. And they just all happen to be good at basketball.
This is actually a psychology thing. When people are using generalities to speak about a group, whether it's your generation, whether it's your state or country or, whatever, oftentimes you use the we, but you really mean I. And so I think that's what Jokic is saying. I don't love basketball. But I love winning. And he's like, I assume I'm a stand-in for every other person, of Serbian descent. I don't love basketball. But you know what? I love winning. And you know what? I'll take it.
Oh, my God. Truly. I mean, all that says is that Jokic desperately wants to win an NBA championship, and then he's going to retire shortly thereafter. So a little sugar, little salt. We'll take what we can get. I like the idea, though, that the man is propelled by the concept of winning.
I do love that as well. All right, are you ready? Can you channel your inner hater?
Hold on, let me. I'm ready. Let's go.
Kale, you're gonna have to help out. Chat, talk along with us here. We're doing the number system. 1 equals absolute despise.
Yeah,
you cannot stand any piece of them. No redeemable qualities in your eye.
Holy
10
smokes.
would be like Jokic. Perfect in every way.
The top human being.
The top human being. Okay, I'm not sure there's going to be any 10s out here that I'm going to be throwing your way. Although maybe a few. Maybe a few.
Oh, man. This is going to be another thing where I find what my value system is based on things that it shouldn't be based on.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Let's go.
All right. Number 1, we're just going to set a little baseline here.
Okay.
Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Oh, my God. Okay. We talked about this last time when discussing the Milwaukee Bucks.
But we didn't give a number to Giannis. We just said he was the reason.
The Bucks, yes, received a very high score, an 8, if I'm not mistaken, because of Giannis.
But so does that mean Giannis is an 8 or the rest of Milwaukee weighs him down to an 8?
I think he's got to be a 9.
He's a 9. I
think he's got to be a 9.
Is that the highest score outside of a Nugget?
Yes. I mean, no one else. Oh my God. Do I need to leave space for my own mother? Also, second follow-up question. Do I like Giannis better than my own mother?
Now, here's the real question: Nuggets Bucks finals this year.
I'd hate that.
What happens? Is it like a balloon that's just completely deflates? Just all of a sudden you hate Giannis.
I mean, Luka I found to be lovable, and now I'm like, screw Luka.
Okay, so Giannis you only love because he's so far away.
He's so far away. I'm going to leave a half step for my own mother.
I will. Well, I'm going to say this: Serbia. We will be there to watch Serbia versus Greece. Eric may be conflicted on who he's rooting for here. I
won't know.
I don't want to send the mob loose on you.
I don't want to know. Oh my God! What if I aimed my flare at the wrong people?
That's right. What if you do that?
Oh my God!
It'll be a disaster. Absolute disaster. All right, number 2, Ja Morant.
Oh man, woo, you're right. This is going to be a deep dive into my psychology.
That's right.
How do I feel about Ja Morant? I like Ja Morant. I love his game. I love how braggadocious he is.
You do?
Well, yes. I love kind of what he's about, but he's proven himself to be a little more than I had bargained for. When his Twitter account, when he started telling people that they should, threatening fans that hollow tips are.
Right, yeah. Like, come on, what are we doing?
I'm like, all right.
It's also lame because it's like, is Josh saying he's going to shoot them?
That's
You're like, what are we doing here, dude?
So how do I feel about Ja Morant? I think he's God. 5 would mean I don't care about him at all.
It means you're neutral. It means you have mixed. It can either mean you don't care or you care both ways equally.
I think I'm going to give him a 6. I think I feel better, more positive than negative about him. I listen. I know where you're going to come in with this.
Ooh, chat disagrees.
I'm a 2. I'm down. 2? I'm out on Ja Morant, man. I'm out. I loved him. He was like Anthony Edwards to me a year ago.
Yeah, you're right. Oh, just. If you switch sides, stay on that side. If you switch sides,
I switch sides.
Yeah, I kind of switched sides that time too. All right, you know what? I'm a 4. Sometimes you just need to talk these things out. I don't know exactly how I felt.
What is the chat saying on Ja?
There's a couple people who really love him, but for the most part, we're getting 3s and 4s.
I wonder if like how online you are determines on how much you hate, dislike, or dislike.
If you just watch him, he's so fun to watch. His game is so fun. He's like way more athletic than you would expect him to be. Like he's way like.
He's a one-of-one athlete. Like he's athletic in ways other people are not. Even like Westbrook is different athleticism. Not better or worse, just different.
All right. I think 4. Okay.
All right, you're 4.
All right, 4.
Rudy Gobert.
Oh, dude. Rudy Gobert, 2.
I was going to say, he can't be a 1. I don't hate him that much.
Yeah, because there's nothing acrimonious coming from his side of the equation.
It's so true.
He is like very peaceable.
He's unlovable. Almost. It's not his own fault. Like, that's who he is.
I know. He's like
Anne from Arrested Development.
Just like a cat that like no one takes care of.
He's like this table, you know.
You're like,
whatever.
His feet are the biggest things I've ever seen. Like they're distracting to me when I watch him try and
move. That's true. He does have big feet.
Like he has big feet.
I have big feet too.
But like
bumping him up to 2.5.
Proportionally, even for a big guy, he has big feet. It seems like awfully like superficial to base that on, but then we're talking about hate here.
That's the thing this is what's weird about it is I dislike him more than a lot of players, but I don't hate him. Meaning like I have an absence of love for all the things he does, but I don't have a hatred necessarily for the things he does.
Yeah. If we were talking about this a year or so ago, I may have brought up the press conference thing. That's all COVID under the fridge.
COVID under the fridge. There you go. Here's an interesting one. Malik Beasley. Former Nugget, Malik Beasley.
I have positive feelings for Malik Beasley.
You do?
I like Malik Beasley.
Okay.
I wanted Malik Beasley to stick around. I recognized that Malik Beasley was sort of led astray off of the right path when he went to Minnesota. He knows it. The U.S. judicial system, the legal system is aware of this. But I like this guy. For me, he's a 6 or a 7. 6.5.
I'm like a 4 for the aforementioned legal issues here. I had he was like when he got traded, I'm rooting for Wancho and Beasley and Van. I'm rooting for those guys. Yeah. And then now I think like they've all dissolved. my affection.
Beasley
Ooh, I should
when he was the dance guy on the
Yeah.
bed. I mean, the most lovable Nugget. Like
Yeah,
he kind of
that's true. He did.
He took a little bit of a heel turn in the way that Kevin Durant did. When Kevin Durant was in Oklahoma City, and he was the guy that wore the backpack.
Yeah.
And he rode his bike, and he had like sort of a childlike quality that you liked about him. Like Beasley, same thing. You're like, this guy is exuberant. He loves life. He likes to dance. And then you're like, oh, he was acting. That's not like he's. That's not
You're
real.
right. He was acting. What about Jared Vanderbilt?
Same thing. Like
Same zone.
I mean, what's to dislike about Jared Vanderbilt?
Nothing.
He's never given us a reason. Like he's never
Strong
like,
agree.
really taken it to us.
Yeah.
Like he's a guy I root for. I'll always fondly remember that one half court bounce skip pass that he made the first time he came in. That was like
He peaked in the first minute
that
of his
was
career.
the biggest misnomer. Like it threw us off the track so much for what to expect from him. I feel like on a 7 for him as well. 6.5, 7.
Juancho Hernangomez.
Oh God, Bo Cruz,
Bo Cruz.
the star of Silver Screen and Stage.
That's right.
Juancho Hernangomez, who now is a Philadelphia legend. Bo Cruz. I mean, how can you hate Juancho?
But do you like him? This is the thing. Is like there was a time when he was like an 8.5, 9. And
I
I'm
think
just
I
wondering,
still do because
you still
he's
do?
sort of like fallen on.
He's fallen on hard times.
I'm like rooting for him still. There's like no reason. It's not like he is now where I have to look very critically at JaMychal Green. Do I hate this guy that's on the Golden State Warriors? Like Juancho has been mired in mediocrity. He hasn't found a starting job anywhere. There's no reason to hate this guy. I still feel like an 8. I want to hang out with him.
All right. What about DeMarcus Cousins? I'm putting him in. Look at how uncomfortable he is right now.
This is like you're talking about. What you're doing is you're playing with the allegiance part of my brain, which is tough. Like I can't evaluate any of these people just based on.
He's not a nugget at the moment.
Not a nugget at the moment. I would have given him a 2, potentially a 1, before he joined the Nuggets, and then I was like. All year, I was like, do I like DeMarcus Cousins?
Yes,
like,
the answer was yes.
and I totally liked DeMarcus Cousins. And so I had to look inward. Like, was I the problem the whole time? Was he, in fact, misunderstood? Do I need to be more rational when I assign my hatred toward people? I still think no. So I think I'm left with residual feelings of positivity about DeMarcus Cousins. So I'm going to give him a 7.
For the record, chat also in on Boogie.
Boogie was great last year.
He was so good last year. He was good in a fun way. Like you could be good. Like Mason Plumlee was good, but like Boogie does things that are fun good.
All those technicals were actually hilarious now in retrospect. I was pretty mad at the time. If he was still in the Nuggets, he might be like an 8 or a 9.
Yeah, I know I have Eric in knots when he starts doing this.
Oh,
one.
dude.
This is such a soothing, self-soothing.
Well, I know that I'm having to plumb the deep depths of my own soul. It's difficult.
Damian Lillard.
Hold on.
Cal, did I come up with some great names
You
here?
came up with some great names.
Holy smokes. Okay, wow. Damian Lillard. There's so much as a small market team fan to appreciate about Dame Lillard. He is not scared of the grind. He calls out all y'all suckers.
Man,
y'all
I
boys
kind of
are
agree with
scared
this.
of the grind. He does things that you want your superstar to do. Unfortunately for Damian Lillard, he does it for the wrong team. There is an objective outside of basketball feeling I have for Damian Lillard, which is much higher on the scale that we're discussing right now, which I feel is mostly basketball related. And for that reason, Damian Lillard comes in at a 3.
Really, a 3?
He's the goddamn point guard of the plate of the Trailblazers. He was, although largely neutralized, he was part of the most heartbreaking series that the Nuggets have been part of in my adult
And
life.
he's really taken Nurk under his wing, which is kind of like, it's a bummer. Here's what I will say. Here's why this is so fun, because I think when we did Blazers, I had them at like a 2 or 3 or something. The only reason is I was softening on them because I wasn't as threatened by them. But I don't like them. I hated them in their heyday, Nuggets-Blazers rivalry. But none of it falls on Dame for some reason. And maybe this is his greatest trick, is that he somehow both associates himself with Portland in the ways that matter and disassociates himself in these ways. I would go 7 for Dame.
7?
I like Dame and I hate the Blazers. What a weird thing.
That's what I'm saying. Like my human being side, which I feel like you're appealing to, but I have to ignore.
Yeah.
Is all in on Dame. I would love to hang out with Dame Lillard.
If Dame was a Nugget, he'd be like a 10. Like he would be so high.
I mean, it's so very affectionately that I refer to Bones Highland as
That's
literally
right.
Dame Lillard.
Yeah, you do say that.
But all the same, Dame gets a 3. You suck, Dame.
I got a lot more of these current players. I've also got some former players on the list that we can talk over in segment 2. But first, let's take a break, and that means D-line reading ad reads.
Oh, God. I forgot to pull it up.
You got DraftKings.
DraftKings. I don't know that I can do that off the top of my head. Hold on 1 sec. DraftKings, the official sports book of DNVR, please. If you've got it. Yes.
All right, I'll pull it up. You go for it. You know what game actually I'm interested in for DraftKings? Actually, we're going to have to place our bets here before we go.
Yes.
The Serbia World Greece game.
Oh, we definitely need to have skin in the game when we're out there shooting flares at the Greek fans.
Yeah. Get in on the hottest sports action for your shot at cold hard cash with DraftKings Sportsbook. Bet on your favorite sports all summer long and gear up for football season right now. New customers can get a risk-free bet up to $1,000. Just make your first bet up to $1,000, and if it doesn't hit, you'll get another shot at a big win. Plus, same game parlays, spreads, money lines, over-unders, props. Your betting options feel endless. Best of all, DraftKings is safe, secure, and reliable. Deposit and withdraw your cash whenever you want. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use promo code DNVR. Make your first deposit and get that risk-free bet up to $1,000. Must be 21 or older. Colorado only. New customers only. Minimum $5 deposit. Risk-free bet paid out in the form of non-withdrawable free bet tokens. Max $1,000. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. And if you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-522-4700. We also want to tell you about what I believe is our longest running partner here at DNVR. Do you know who they are?
Green Mountain Dental.
Green Mountain Dental Group. We've had several of our listeners go over there, and what do they get when they get a cleaning, x-ray, and exam?
Winning smile.
A winning smile for sure. Look at
And
that
they get
face.
a free Sonicare toothbrush.
Free Sonicare toothbrush when you go and sign up and get a cleaning, x-ray, and exam. I go every 3 months to the dentist. I just like it. Your teeth feel so clean. You can always feel like the rigidness of your teeth when you go.
There is a thing that happens when you hit your around college age life, where you lose contact with the dentist. You don't go regularly.
True,
you don't have a dentist.
Nobody's in college.
And then once you become a young professional and you get access to dental insurance again, there's a weird fear that has crept into people's minds.
Right, because you were a child the last time.
They don't want to start it back up. They're afraid they're going to be drilled in. You're going to have a bunch of cavities. You don't want to get the process started. Once you get to just sort of in that rhythm of going every 6 months, every 3, whatever it is, to get the cleaning and everything, it becomes a joy.
Yeah. Green Mountain Dental Group's great. They've been a longtime partner of ours. People always ask us, how can we support you guys? One of the things is you're going to go to a dentist, or you should. Make it Green Mountain Dental. Make it them. All right. Back here, guys, we're doing the haters guide here. We're going through some players.
Oh, man.
We just did Damian Lillard. Very difficult. This one maybe a little bit easier.
Okay.
Jeremy Grant.
Jeremy Grant stood up for what he believed in.
Yeah.
At the expense of the Denver Nuggets.
Believed in leaving Denver. He kind of believed in against Denver. He's like, the belief is, I hate Denver.
That's a tough way to be, because you love a man with principle. You just wish that the principle wasn't in direct opposition to your own feelings and your own existence. Jeremy Grant now, hilariously, was then traded to Portland, which is right back out of line with his own personal feelings. Jeremy Grant did not give us a chance. Jeremy Grant, you get a 4.
Jeremy Grant did spend the 1 year in Denver when the world was least enjoyable.
Yes.
He picked, I mean, he didn't pick it. He was traded for it, but like he really spent the worst one here. A 4, I go lower on Jeremy Grant, man. I go
3.
I don't like, this is a dumb thing. I grade these guys mostly off of what they are as basketball players. I don't like when guys don't want, recognize, or accept the role that best suits them. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Jeremy Grant would be one of the best role players in all of the NBA. He sees himself as different. He wants to be a bad star rather than a great role player. And there's more money. There's like other considerations in this. Some people find virtue in it. Like I talked to some people even inside the Nuggets organization, and they're like, you know what? It takes guts to say, hey, I think I could be more than that, and I'm going to go out and prove it. Like there is some nobility in it. I just don't like it. I like when people are
right.
like...
We're not talking about human traits here. We're talking about haters club.
Remember my sermon about the basketball is a spiritual game and no part of the body can say it's less honorable? This is how I feel about role players. Jeremy Grant was like an armpit.
Okay. Do you hate your armpit?
Love armpits. So needed.
But you gave him a low score.
No, well, because he wants to be a knee.
I see. You hate him because the armpit believes it's the face.
That's what I'm saying exactly. This metaphor didn't work. Donovan Mitchell,
That was very confusing. Breaking it down was difficult.
Spida Mitchell,
Spider Mitchell doesn't. Okay,
former Nugget.
Spider Mitchell, part of the duo that was so loathable in Utah, doesn't seem to like Utah himself.
Does it help that he also
Ran
hates Utah?
Rudy Gobert out of town.
He did.
Might
do
get
that.
traded.
Yeah. Really, come on. He's been trying to get traded for several years.
He hates Utah and I hate Utah. We have one thing in common. He and Jamal Murray that head-to-head matchup in the bubble was so unbelievable. But I hated him throughout because he was giving us such pain. We ultimately triumphed, which gave me such joy.
Yeah.
I'm going to give him a 3.
That's where I think I am too. It's dislike. I'm anti him, but I don't really care that much. DeAndre Jordan.
Oh, God damn it. See, this is tough because he's not had the opportunity to go through the evolution that Boogie Cousins did.
This is like a dating show, like a blind dating show where they come out and they're like immediately pretending to be in love. And you're like, you literally just met each other.
Oh, no, right. This, like you see,
This is the reveal and they're walking towards you and you're like, oh my God, I'm so in love.
I haven't seen him in a Nuggets uniform, so
he's literally done nothing for you.
He has given us a very bad start to the offseason, the free agency period.
Not his fault.
Not his fault. Doesn't matter. I mean, who am I supposed to hate? The Nuggets? So DeAndre Jordan, I've never liked him. I still don't like him. I hated the move. It's not his fault. I'm sure he's watching. DeAndre, for this 3, I apologize. I'm sorry.
3?
Right now.
I'm a 5, man.
Oh, God.
That's the right answer. It's so obvious once I said it.
Is it a 5, dude? I still don't like him at all.
It's a blank canvas, man. You got to give a guy a shot.
I mean, I will.
You're going in with baggage.
It's his baggage. Fine.
You hopped aboard and threw the anchor out.
You're right. You're right. A 5. We need a blank canvas. You're right.
Blank canvas. All right. Chet Holmgren.
Oh,
this is a tough one because he hasn't done enough for you to really have opinions, but I know you have
Chet Holmgren should be goofy and funny. Because he looks goofy and funny, but he's oddly serious.
You're right.
He has been pictured a couple times wearing like a lot of jewelry and like a cocked hat and like jeans that are too cool, which
his
are not going to age well.
personality does not match his appearance.
No, he needs to he should be like Vlatko. You know what I mean? Or he should be like just a quiet, hard worker, comes in like, hey guys, like, hey, what are we doing today? But he like walks in like, I mean, like he is the goofiest looking dude in the NBA.
Yeah.
But he acts. It's early on his career, so there's room to go up from here. But I think Chet Holmgren. But I'm also rooting for him because I kind of think, like, I enjoy what he brings to the basketball court. But his personality is rough.
He kind of reminds me of another Chet Hanks.
He has big Chet, dude. It's a Chet thing.
It's a Chet thing. If you're Chet, you overcorrect on the name.
I think wow. Are all Chets starting at a baseline of a 3 and then it's above or below?
I only know those 2 Chets, so I will say yes.
So he's a baseline Chet. He's a 3. Yeah. He's a 3.
Wow. I think I'm pro Chet Holmgren though.
You're
for
pro.
all the reasons you said, except for he's so goofy that I'm like, hey man, what's he supposed to do? Like, what are you supposed
but
to
I
do?
know, but like Poku,
and he's good. He could be like Poku.
He should be like Poku.
I think Poku could use a little Chet in him. Poku is Serbian for Chet. DeAndre Ayton.
I like DeAndre. DeAndre Ayton.
I know your psychology on this one so thoroughly.
Well, because you've heard me say everything that's in my brain.
Not even that.
I like, the same way that I've been, because he himself attempted to score in the Suns. That bumps him up. I watched DeAndre Ayton, as I've said many times, be one of the worst players I've ever seen Jokic go up against. In the beginning, as he started off his rookie season, he clowned him so hard. And by the end of that season, he became one of the most formidable defensive players that Jokic ever faces each year. I like that he is Jokic's good friend. He's always smiling. He takes he never misses an opportunity to compliment Jokic.
Yeah.
Which I love.
That you're right. That we're so easy. That's all it takes.
That's it.
He's like, Yoke's the best. We're like, we agree.
Dude, if I don't know, my greatest enemy was like, Yoke deserved that MVP award. I'm like, Are they so bad? Are they so bad? So DeAndre Ayton, I actually like him a lot. I hate that the Suns re-signed him. I wish he would have gone to the Indiana Pacers and been set free from the ridiculous amount of ire that he gets from very spoiled, very ridiculous Suns fans. I'm going to give him a 7.
That's what seems. I'll go 6 because he's still on the Suns. If he got traded to the Pacers, I might be like an 8. I'd be all in on 8, and I'd be like
8.
I'd be
It's
8
right there.
Yeah, I'd be right there. But instead, he's still a Phoenix Sun, so I have to discount him there. I'm with you. The other part of your psychology you overlooked here is Suns fans don't appreciate him.
No, well, that's what I said. Like
Yeah.
they themselves are ridiculous in their evaluations of him. It's like absurd. It does make me like him more. I don't even know what we would do with him on this team, but I want him.
There's nothing we would do with them. All right, we're gonna go historic players here.
Oh man,
We're doing historic players here. We're gonna start with a toughie and a biggie. The late great Kobe Bryant.
bro, what are you trying to do?
I could have thrown Bill Russell at you. Something been like, wow, now
You can't do this to me. You can't make me talk about Kobe and Gigi in a hater's guide.
Do you hate Kobe? I didn't know. You know what's funny? We've talked about basketball a lot, like every day. I have no idea what you think of Kobe. We've never talked about Kobe together. You hate Kobe. Just say you hate him. There's nothing wrong with hating a player. There's not a wrong answer here. I love how you're like processing whether your take is bad or not. It's like, dude,
No,
it's just you like a player or not.
Kobe had some issues in Colorado.
That's where you're basing most of your perspective on. It's fair.
I find
It's
a lot
important
of people,
perspective.
I find a lot of people just gloss right over that.
Completely overlook it.
Especially in a time when we're talking about Deshaun Watson. Can we go to the next
Go to the next one here. You're leading this into. I just thought it was going to be a lighthearted like 3, but nope, we went real heavy here.
It is. I'll say this. It is quite low on this.
Quite low. Tony Parker.
Tony Parker. Kind of unhateable, right? A lovable face. Well,
He's hateable, man.
he was
he also eliminated
cheated
the
on
Nuggets.
Ava Longoria with a
with
a
Bones-
teammate.
Yeah, Bones Berry.
Oh man, I really have opened this up too wide.
You really are like. I thought this was going to be a fun segment, Kale. I didn't realize what we were going to do.
I like Tony Parker. Tony Parker has a lot of Monte Morris in him. Tony Parker is not flashy, not showy, gets the job done, allows the right players to make the right moves.
Did you just call him to Monte Morris?
A little bit. I like just that.
They're point guards.
Well, they're steady point guards, like not flashy. Little
Tony Parker's like the quickest guy in the NBA for a long time.
a little bit. Okay, fair enough. But I like him. I feel positive about Tony Parker. I'm going to say a 7. I like him.
Shaquille O'Neal.
Shaquille O'Neal.
Are we talking the player or the TV personality?
We're talking about the human being.
Shaquille O'Neal, when I was a young man, released a hip hop song called not True Fushnik, What's Up Doc, featuring the Fushnikins. Can we rock? What's Up Doc? You have to look. It was on MTV Rap.
Okay. Yo, Shaq, can you rock the mic? How could you ask it? Is that the one?
Yes. And then he also had the video game Shaq Fu.
Yeah.
He was. I watched the movie Blue Chips. I knew all about Shaquille O'Neal when I was in middle school, which was rare. Now I find his personality to be exquisitely off-putting. He is very insecure for somebody that should be very secure. There is no product on earth that he won't put his name on. There's a little too much Shaquille O'Neal in my life. I don't hate him, but I don't like him. But I also, he was a Laker, and he, I think I'm maybe a 4 with Shaq.
I'm a 2. I'm a 2.
Whoa,
I don't
a
like.
2?
I'm anti-Shaq, man.
A 2?
I don't like Shaq the player. I didn't like Shaq the Laker, especially Shaq the businessman. To your point, just a little too much Shaq in my life. And then Shaq the analyst, even lower.
Man, Shaq really went at JaVale McGee when I was carrying the water for JaVale McGee.
Really?
Well, remember he was on Shaq in the
what
Fool all the
what a
time?
hilarious
I know. Now
reason to hate Shaq.
Now I'm like, maybe Shaq was right.
Allen Iverson.
Oh, come on. I mean, Allen Iverson, absolute legend in the game, changed the game from a cultural standpoint, brought a lot of the elements that I love about the NBA to the NBA. Denver Nugget. Allen Iverson, an 8.
Yeah, I would say that's about right for me too. 8.
Right?
You know, he's like pretty high up there. I love AI. AI the person. He's one of very, 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 very few legendary NBA players that likes the current NBA.
Yes.
Shouts those guys out nonstop, which I'm just like, it's so funny to me, man. Honestly, there's few things that earn my respect more than people that are secure enough in themselves to give credit to others, including competitors. Yeah. It's like the ultimate, like, man, that guy gets it. Or he's just like secure enough that he doesn't have to play his game. Like, Shaq's the opposite.
There is no football players are like, hey, the forward pass wasn't what it once was when the Bronco Nagurski was playing.
Yeah. They do the
Travis
thing
Kelce could never play in that era.
They do the thing though where they're like, they don't hit and all these rules, and you're
there's that. Yeah, they're like, well, I mean,
but they also are dealing with the exact consequences, or familiar enough with people who are.
Yeah,
that like, all right, maybe we shouldn't hit.
It's hard to advocate for CTE these days.
It is a tough line to be on. Here's a tough one: Andre Iguodala.
The mole, the mole. You believe is tough, huh,
dude? So Reddit hates Andre Iguodala. It's like their number one most hated person.
Yeah.
Which I find kind of interesting.
Andre Iguodala.
Way more hittable former Nuggets, in my opinion, my personal
Andre
opinion.
Iguodala actually did harm to the Nuggets while on the Nuggets. He was a true Benedict Arnold. He was withholding of his personality when he was here. We didn't actually know who he was. He was very demure. I thought he was like somebody that he wasn't. As soon as he went to the Golden State Warriors, we saw who he really was.
A great all-time basketball player,
a fantastic six-man,
and a phenomenal teammate and leader.
MVP of the finals.
Really tough break.
His true colors
came out. Ultimate winner.
Andre Iguodala. One for Andre
Iguodala.
You suck the mole. You suck the mole. The mole. He has a nickname. The mole.
I'm about to lower my Q score amongst Nuggets fans by a lot. I'm like an 8, man.
What?
What did I say about role players? No, because it's funny. Him and Jeremy kind of have some similarities. Like they both dislike Denver for largely similar reasons. Here's 2 things. One, he made a decision to leave Denver, which by the way was a sinking ship, and join the Golden State Warriors, which he saw as being a dynasty. And guess what? On both accounts, he was right. Sometimes you need a little distance to stand back and say, hold on, do I now see their perspective with Carmelo Anthony? Absolutely not. He left a great team to go join a terrible one. You're like, what were you doing? You literally just hated Denver. Andre Iguodala left a sinking ship to go form the greatest dynasty we have ever seen, and he saw it all. And I'm like, you know what? Are there problems with him? Of course. But what did I say about Jeremy? I don't like when players want to be something that they're not. Iguodala is the opposite. He wanted to be exactly what he was supposed to be, and because of it, he helped form the greatest dynasty.
So here's what Adam has told you about himself. Feel free to punch him in the stomach if
you have a reason to.
You're going to be a good, successful businessman afterwards.
That's not exactly how.
You're allowed to injure Adam if it's a good decision for you personally.
If Adam's wondering how his Q score just went, we just got 2 dislikes right then.
Tough break.
You gave Iggy an 8?
Here's what I'm telling you, man. I keep it 100 here. Keep it 100.
Jesus, I keep it 1 here.
I keep it 1.
Iggy, you get a 1.
Kevin Garnett.
Oh, Kevin Garnett's great.
Really? Well, I didn't know when you said. Oh, I did not know where you were.
I love Kevin Garnett. I love it. I scream anything is possible daily on this show.
Yeah, that was the all-time greatest celebration.
He was great in Uncut Gems. I love his passion. He's such an asshole. Like his shit talking to Carmelo Anthony, legendary. I'm going to give Kevin Garnett. I'm going to give him an 8. I like Kevin Garnett.
An 8.
I like him.
I would go 7. I like KG as well.
He's no Iguodala.
They did eliminate the Nuggets one year.
He didn't personally wound you in any way.
Just saying, I like KG. I'm a KG fan. All right, that does it for today's installment of the Haters Guide. We might have to do a couple more Haters Guides between now and the preseason.
I cannot believe you did not invoke the name Yusuf.
Come on, what is that number? Come on, do I really? Is there mystery surrounding it?
Andre Iguodala.
It was a great conversation we had. Nurkic would not have been that. All right, let's take a break. We do have Jace Frederick waiting for us, Pioneer Press. He'll be on the other side. We'll take one quick break. Eric, do you want to do these? Did you finally pull these up?
I did finally pull it up.
Breckenridge Brewery. What did you tell me about Breckenridge Brewery?
I will tell you about Breckenridge Brewery. Did you know that's the official beer of DNVR, Breckenridge Brewery?
I did know
When
that.
the bar reopens in the coming months, we will have beers on tap and regular seltzers being sold here at the V2 of the DNVR bar.
Yeah.
I can't wait. So remember, supporting our partners is supporting us. They have a beer for any occasion. There's no better way to watch a game than having some Breck Brew. We're putting together our next edition of our DNVR official tailgates for the
Oh,
Broncos.
man.
So I'm working with Breck Brew right now, working on
that's right.
marketing materials, putting that up. They're going to be a integral part of our tailgates coming up.
It's the best, man.
We love them. They are our true homies.
Actually, you know where the best tasting Breckenridge Brewery is? It really is at the tailgate. You know why? A couple reasons. I've said this before. It's fall.
Autumnal.
It happens in autumn, which is where you drink the Avalanche Amber. And it's outside. It's at the stadium. You're like excited. I'm telling you, it's the top beer is a Breck beer at the tailgate.
And if you've not been, like, just to get this on your radar to start thinking about it, like, our place that we have our tailgates is so unbelievably picturesque. It's up on a hill.
That's
it
right.
looks directly unencumbered view of Empower Stadium. Breckenridge Brewery has a starring role at these. So they are our homies. Go check them out at breckbrew.com and check out the Breck Brew locator if you're looking for some of that autumnally focused goodness.
Also, I want to tell you about Avaca TV. They are the new GOAT, G-O-A-T, GOAT in Colorado sports. That is greatest of all TV.
Oh.
I like that. It's part of the ad. It's a new part here. I kind of like it. Avaca TV delivers amped up sports coverage for Colorado sports fans. You know what they've got. Altitude TV, AT&T Sportsnet, and the NFL Network. The trifecta, the holy trinity. You can watch all of your teams here in Denver. We know Comcast. I want Comcast to be like in 20 years, we don't even know who they are. That's what I hope. That's what I almost root for. Like,
who
what was that? Yeah, they were like
back
the
when you're like,
defunct-
were they part of J.C. Penney?
Yeah, exactly. They're going to be the Mervins of going forward. So that's what I'm rooting for. Why? Because Avaca TV is going to replace them. They're carrying Altitude Sports. So if you want to watch the Nuggets this season legally and on television, you can get Avaca TV. You also get the DNVR channel. Us right now live streaming on the DNVR channel on the Avaca TV package. It's only $25 a month, $5 for the receiver. Right now, Colorado sports fans get $10 off per month for the first 3 months. To score that deal, go to Evoca, evoca.tv/Colorado10. That's evoca.tv/Colorado10, and you get that discount. No contracts, no catches. Avaca TV is made for champions of the remote.
What would you give Comcast as a company?
Oh, 0.
Yeah, they get
they
a
would
0.
they would get lower than Yusef Nurkic.
They're an absolute zero.
They're an absolute zero.
Full zero.
Guys, we're now going to bring in our special guest today, segment 3, and it's Jace Frederick of the Pioneer Press. He is doing a great job covering the Minnesota Timberwolves, now Tim Connelly's Timberwolves. Jace, thank you so much for taking time to join the show.
Hey guys, appreciate it. I don't know, a little bit low Kevin Garnett ratings for me to follow up with.
Those are low?
A 7 here in Minnesota is like slander for Kevin Garnett.
Well, wait. Is anything that happened after he leave Minnesota? Does any of that weigh in? Like the
No.
fact that he's now best known as a Celtic, does that grate on you?
Well, I think it probably does great on people here. There's certainly like the Hall of Fame debate. You know, like who did he align more with there? But frankly, like, did you see maybe Matt Stafford and the way like Lions fans celebrated his Super Bowl? It was Detroit mania for Matt Stafford. Everybody was behind him. That was Minnesota people rooting for Kevin Garnett. And when afterwards, when he won, he did the soda. This is for you. I think like he definitely ingrained himself even more than he was as a player as like, oh my God, we got a shout out after a championship. That's like next best thing. So there is no hatred on Kevin Garnett.
So, Jace, you kind of set the table for me a little bit here already, just in saying that one of the things that I think is important to frame the Timberwolves in this era is that they really have been the least successful franchise over the last 30 years. It's not just that they're like haven't had championships, which neither have the Nuggets, playoff success, which neither really have the Nuggets other than very recently. It's that they haven't really even been in the playoffs. How much of that do you think, when we think about they just made an all-in move, I mean a real big-time all-in move, how much of the equation do you think has to do with, hey, they need to like start something that could maybe last a few years in Minnesota, and this is the best bet?
I think that's fair. I definitely think there was a sense within the organization of, hey, we're starting to build some momentum coming off last season. And there was a real fearsome trepidation that if they sat pat, status quo, they were going to take a step back. Just looking at the teams that were that were hurt last year, the rosters. Denver is certainly going to probably be still better than Minnesota, and it would have been leaps and bounds had Minnesota done nothing. The Clippers, if they are healthy and have their guys, you think they're going to be better. The Lakers always still feel like they're just one move away from maybe being better if their entire team's healthy and they can pull the right lever at some point. New Orleans, who knows? So there was a lot of, I think, fear of, if we don't do anything, we're going to get lapped. We're going to be back in the play-in, and we might not make it into the playoffs. And now we look like a failure of a season, and there's a direction question again. So I think doing this now, you say, okay, from Minnesota's perspective, we should be locking ourselves into roughly 50 wins, give or take 2, maybe here or there. And for Anthony Edwards, for his next 3 or 4 years here, he's going to be a part of successful basketball teams and feel good about the organization, and he's going to play in a lot of important games. So I think that's why, even with making that all-in move, and the guys might say it's championship or bust, I don't think the organization feels that way. I think fans are going to be happy if the team is just relevant, maybe making a push for the second round, because that just doesn't happen here. And the organization, I think, is going to be thinking, okay, we're just winning culture here, and we're setting this up as kind of the standard as far as like consistently relevant, consistently pushing wins, consistently playing in important games, which is also important for this organization because they haven't had it in forever.
Wouldn't you consider, though, not having a first-round pick for 5 years sort of a bust if it doesn't work? Like, where do
every other year they get one.
Okay, I see. Okay.
As of right now. I certainly do see like everybody else looking at that and saying, well, you might be kind of messing up your future. But I think Minnesota looks at it as, okay, we've got Anthony Edwards who turns 21 on Friday. Yeah. Jaden McDaniels who just is 21. And they view those guys as kind of like pillars for the future. And okay, say the Gobert thing doesn't work out or just, it wraps up here in 4 years and then you part ways and you didn't win a championship. Well, now you have those guys who've had, more playoff experience and ideally, you still have like your odd year first round picks or even year, whatever one it is, even your odd first round picks. And then I think you're hoping that Anthony Edwards is the kind of guy who maybe pulls in more guys to a top tier mid-level player wants to sign and play with him. Those kinds of things. So I think they feel like their core is young enough that they're not too worried that they can't add younger players for years to come here because then by the time this is all said and done, Anthony Edwards is going to be like 26. So
yeah. How do you feel, like, what has the fan base's response been to the move? Are they mostly positive? I'm not talking about writers because that's almost a different question, but just the fan base. What's your sense?
Yeah, and also, like, what was your initial reaction to the trade, too?
I think my initial reaction was very much the same as fans' initial reaction. Like, right when it comes out, you look at the compensation and you think, holy smokes. It is so many picks, so many players that within the first hour, I would say fans were thinking, what an overpay. And then, but it doesn't take long, I think, then for, fans have this amazing bounce back ability to find the positive light in just about anything. And then you see like a guy with Gobert's resume and what he did for Utah and how he ranks out, statistically in a lot of advanced numbers and the things he does that Minnesota didn't have and clearly lacked even this last season. And now I would say it was markedly positive, the reaction of fans of just like, okay, I think this is a consistent winner. I think this covers up a lot of Cat's warts, which was maybe one of the more important things they could do this offseason. I think people see a really good fit. And I just think the fan reaction really does date back to the history of this organization. There is like a security that this team is going to be at worst pretty good, which is not something that they've been able to anticipate or celebrate for a long time. So I definitely think it's 90%. Maybe there's 10% of people who maybe think like, well, this still isn't going to work. This isn't the way the NBA is going. We gave up way too many picks for that. But most of it's pretty positive and pretty excited, I think, around here that there's just going to be a winner in town. I
think the thing you mentioned this word, I think earlier, is just relevant. Like they're going to be relevant. I think they're the most interesting team next season. And sometimes interesting is as important, like especially with new ownership. You're like, hey, I don't know if we're going to win, but guess what? People are going to care what we are because we're so unique. And I think that's it. The basketball question here, people are going to debate it. I actually kind of like it as a basketball fit. I think there's a good chance it's going to work. The further 4 or 5 years ago when this Nuggets era started, I thought a lot about the X's and O's, like that's what it is. And I actually, the more I follow the NBA, the more I think that is a very important part of it. It might be 60, 70%, but there's these other aspects of it. And that gets me to this question. You already had D'Angelo Russell, Anthony Edwards, Karl-Anthony Towns. That's a big three of superstars. Now you add another superstar. There's effectively 4 stars of some caliber there. Who do you think has to sacrifice the most from what they most are comfortable doing out of those 4 guys?
I think it's probably going to be Karl Anthony Towns. You can look at the way in which they basically, like the start of last year, they put Towns in the post a lot. Just because in a one-on-one, Karl Anthony Towns really can crush people in the post. But he got doubled ad nauseum and really struggled with that. So they moved him out to the perimeter. And anybody who tried to guard him with the center, you knew those were the teams that maybe weren't the most well coached because he would just blow by guys and either get fouled or score at the rim with relative ease. And then, maybe the opposing center takes 3 steps back and Towns nails the triple. I don't think he's going to get as many advantageous matchups out of that anymore. I do think that he'll be guarded by a lot of 4s who can kind of keep up with him, I guess. So I don't think he's going to get as many easy buckets just by playing out on the perimeter anymore. I think he's going to have to maybe find his offense in other ways. He's going to have to change the way he does things, maybe be a little bit more trigger happy from 3, which was kind of a constant talking point that wasn't the case in the second half of last season.
I feel like he would like that, though.
Posting up is going to be great.
I think he'll like taking more 3s, though.
I love him taking more 3s, but it goes against his instincts.
Okay.
He really fought it last year, especially down the stretch, and we would bring it up a ton. And he would talk about how he needed to find the balance of the game and just really seemed to enjoy driving. So I think that's going to be something he'll have to transition. I think it'll be great if he does it, but I think he's going to be fighting himself on it. In the post, it's going to be interesting with Gobert on the other side, probably in the opposing dunker spot, and how are the doubles going to work there? So just as far as everything, I think D'Angelo Russell gets a boost out of having a pick-and-roll partner. I don't think there's much that's going to affect the way Anthony Edwards plays. I think it'll be Karl Anthony Towns who has to find maybe different solutions with Gobert on the court.
Who do you think benefits the most from this move? What, like individually? I'm not as a team, but individually, who do you think is going to feast the most now?
Russell for sure, at least as far as upticking from where he was a year ago. He's a pick-and-roll player, and Minnesota just didn't have a roller. Karl Anthony Towns is not a roller. From the screen setting to it just doesn't seem to be what he wants to do as far as like crashing down the lane. That's what Rudy Gobert does. And frankly, Rudy Gobert on the defensive end is going to help hide D'Angelo Russell in ways that Minnesota was able to last year with scheme, but then not in certain matchups. Now Russell can get beat and won't matter. Like we saw Utah, that happens with them all the time. I think that he gets better on both sides of the floor now. Russell having a guy who you can throw lobs to, having a guy who you can run pick and rolls with, and then having a guy who's got your back defensively. I think he can have a big uptick this year as long as he stays engaged and positive and committed to what they need to do for 82 games.
This is a tough one, this next question, because sometimes when we ask about people's players' character, we don't really know. We're just judging off what happens, what their character is.
We're just deciding whether or not we hate them.
In Eric's case, that's what we're doing. But one of my main questions I have is Towns is really good, Gobert's really good. I question whether both of them are tough enough, like physically, mentally, leadership-wise, all of those things. Sometimes that can be developed over the course of a career or maybe even in short order. But that's my big question is, I wonder if those guys are tough enough to handle. You just mentioned Karl Anthony Towns might have to sacrifice. What if his numbers are low? He's not first, second, or third team, NBA this year. Like, is that mentally, is he able to say, hey, but this is how we win, and going gets tough? Like, who is the guy that kind of steps up to the adversity? Are those two guys, in your opinion, do you worry at all about that aspect of this dynamic?
Yeah, 100%. I do think Karl Anthony Towns is maybe willing to sacrifice to some degree because, hey, his numbers went down when Jimmy Butler came, and he wasn't really ever the one to make a stink about that. He kind of took it all in stride, and obviously the relationship didn't go that great, but it was never for Towns because the production wasn't there or the numbers dipped. Right. Frankly, he moved up into All-NBA because they won so much. But I do wonder, when the going gets tough, who is the guy who takes over? Who's the guy they turn to? Who's the guy who maybe ignites them? Because it was Patrick Beverley last year. It really was in a lot of different ways, and they needed that. And I think their plan as an organization, I think there are many different avenues in which they could have parted ways with Patrick Beverley, and I'm not surprised that they did because I think they just kind of thought it was time to move on because as all of the good Beverley does, there also is kind of some negativity, I think, that comes with it, with just the way you're handling things, the energy you're bringing. It's kind of tough to sustain, and it can show itself in bad ways at times as well. But now somebody else has to do that. And I think it's going to fall on Anthony Edwards' shoulders as much as anyone else because I don't know if Towns or Gobert has it in them because I don't think we've seen it a lot from them. Who can be the person to kind of lead the charge? Who can be the person who's, rising up to the moment? Who can be the person who's giving this team the confidence that you can compete against this team. You can you can rise up to this matchup and challenging guys and whatnot. I don't know if Gobert or Towns has it. I don't, and maybe people in Utah would answer that differently. I'm having a better look at him for so long, but I would guess that it's going to be on Anthony Edwards to do those types of things.
Do you think this is Anthony Edwards' team already?
It sure feels that way, and I don't think anybody around the team would say that because they would very much like to play it off as 1 and 1A with Towns and Edwards. But it definitely feels like people gravitate towards Anthony Edwards. It's his teammates, people within the organization. He just has that aura about him where you can't help but think like also in the big moments who rises to them. It's Anthony Edwards. It certainly feels like that. I think to just about everybody, and it might even feel more like that every single year as we go down the road. But I would say it kind of is right now, frankly.
I have a feeling that will be definitive by the end of the year, and I think Towns is a phenomenal player. There is the personality aspect of this is so important.
It's massive. Even just, obviously it's like outside perspective, and even more so like rivals. Anthony Edwards is just like I find myself having a hard time hating him.
Well, he's just very cool, is what it is. And
Carl Anthony Towns, I have no problem hating.
Yeah, very easy not to dislike as a rival
Timberwolves
team.
Fans too, man. There's a lot of that. Cat has it's an interesting thing with Cat. He puts up some great numbers, and he does a lot of things that aren't. He'll always try to say and do the right thing, and there's a lot of things that are really admirable with that. But there are so many times at like a random bar or something, you'll start talking to a Timberwolves fan, and they're like, "I don't know what it is. I just rubs me the wrong way when I watch him play every night." And that's fans of the team. So I'm not surprised that's the outside perspective as well.
I think it's rare to be on. Honestly, this dynamic happens all of the time, and sometimes it fractures a team. Like sometimes you have two equally talented players, or maybe even one's more talented than the other.
Right.
But there's one that's loved and one that's not, and it's just it can really create fractures. And I'm that'll be another little dynamic here to watch.
Is Carl Anthony Towns the ultimate teammate by being unlovable?
I don't think he's aiming for it. He's not like shielding everybody by being unlovable. Here's the last one I have for you, Jason. This has been great. So give me the teams in the West that you feel are comfortably in a tier above the Timberwolves at this very moment.
Okay, I'm going to pull something up here, so I'm not obviously forgetting someone where it's like, what about them? Oh, yeah, them too. Right. Certainly, I think the Clippers, just assuming that they're going to be who we think they're going to be. The Nuggets, I for sure would have in that group.
My guy.
Pandering, I love it.
So
smart.
Well, I found myself watching a lot of Nuggets games last year, even, and just because it was relevant down the stretch. So if the Wolves weren't playing, I would tune into the Nuggets, and man, that was a fun team to watch. I grew a massive appreciation for Nikola Jokic. It was pretty incredible. The Warriors for sure, Phoenix for sure. Those are probably the only. Oh, and Memphis. I would say Memphis is still going to be a step ahead of Minnesota. It depends on how they start the year, and certainly like when Jackson comes back, how much that. But by April, I would just take Memphis as probably the better team than Minnesota.
That's interesting. I have the same list minus Memphis. To me, Memphis would be in the Timberwolves' tier. Give me the teams that are in the Timberwolves' tier. Are they they're the next tier? I assume.
Yeah, I would say like Dallas and New Orleans, and I kind of feel like that's a pretty small tier.
Okay.
So if Memphis is in it, that maybe makes it a little bit more like level, but I have it as a smaller tier with just those three teams, frankly.
What about Portland?
I don't see it. I mean, I think that they're going to be a play-in team that is like fighting to be in the play-in.
Yeah.
I'm just not the biggest Jeremy Grant believer, but I don't know if that's enough to really shake the trees for me and say like, oh, okay, now Portland's back.
Certainly worked for Detroit.
I don't know how it's going to look with Lillard and Simons. Like, I just see that as an okay team that like in a one-game play-in can scare you, but I don't think it's going to be consistently great throughout the season.
So you're not buying Sacramento as like the sleeper team this year at all. I'm telling you, they're trying to be. That people aren't paying attention. They got hurt, or they're trying to make some moves.
I don't know if they're a sleeper team so much as just that they're asleep. Yes.
I mean, that's just a team with like. I don't think the ceiling's very high. Like,
yeah.
I mean, those other tier of teams, Dallas, Minnesota, New Orleans. Like, I think that's like teams that have higher ceilings if everything breaks just right. I don't think Sacramento is in that argument at all. I definitely think they're a team where it's like, yeah, maybe 9 or 10 if everything breaks right for them.
Awesome. Well, he is Jace Frederick from St. Paul Pioneer Press. Anything you want to promote before we get out of here?
Got nothing. Kind of hit me in my dead zone. I have almost nothing to promote right now.
Hell yeah.
Hey, man.
He's my kind of guy.
We just ranked players by how much we hate them. That's where we are at content-wise.
The worst part is that the high season for me.
Yeah. That is
Yeah.
I just peaked.
So if you ever need me to come on in early August, I promise I'm free. So this is
There you go.
next one. I'm like, oh, sure. Yeah, I have literally nothing else going on today. Why not?
Thank you so much, Jace. I really appreciate it, man. Have a good one.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
And Kel, you can cue that outro music. This was a great one.
I'm telling you, Jace, 9'5".
Really?
What a great guy.
9.5.
He talks about the Timberwolves. I didn't hate him at all.
He complimented Jokic.
He complimented Jokic. He made very complimentary statements about the Denver Nuggets.
All right, well, a couple more rapid fire haters guide questions, okay? Kale Sorbo.
Oh, one. Go. Next.
One? Okay. Brendan Vogt.
Brendan Vogt. Who is that?
Harrison Wind.
Harrison Wind. Undisclosed score.
Duvali A. Johnson.
10.
Yeah.
Easy 10.
Eric Weedham.
Oh, my God. Is this dark? Holy smokes. Let's just roll to the end.
Above or below Jeremy Grant? Wow.
Or Kobe Bryant? I can't. Let's just let this one fade
Hit
out.
that like button on the way out, everybody.